No,
No,
sir.
Alice.
No, Judge. James Hernandez.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, raise your right hand. Where's Mr. Sanders?
He's
I'm
on the
here,
video.
Your Honor.
There's Mr. Sanders. And where's Mr. Miles? Mr. Miles.
He's also in the courtroom, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Miles, where's your attorney? Is he with you?
On the Zoom, Judge.
Okay, there, all right. Got you up. All right, you two gentlemen, you solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Miles,
Yes, sir.
put your hand down. Thank you. Mr. Sanders,
Yes, Your Honor.
thank you. Put your hand down. Mr. Hernandez,
Yes, Judge.
thank you. Put your hand down. Gentlemen, it is my understanding that you have each reached an agreement with the state. You reached an agreement with the state on concerning a plea. Before we do that, I need to inform you of your constitutional rights and protections. Number one, each of you individually has the right to remain silent. That means that you cannot be required or compelled to give any kind of statement, answer any questions, or submit written, signed paperwork, especially papers where you admit or confess to wrongdoing. You each have the right to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney individually could, participating with the state, could select 6 people from a panel of disinterested citizens who would hear all the evidence, see the witnesses, see whatever materials are submitted. And that jury, in your individual case, could decide whether you're not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. You have the right to confront witnesses. That means that if you individually went to trial, the state would have to try and prove you're guilty by using testimony, witnesses. You and your attorney would have the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who will testify. That means you have the right to confront them. You have a right of appeal. Each of you has that right. When this case is over and finished, the right of appeal can be exercised by you or your attorney or the two of you together, wherein you would demand that a higher court review the official record and the evidence in this case, your individual case, and decide whatever legal challenges you wanted to make. That right is a little bit difficult to exercise, but it is a significant right. You have to use the right paperwork with the right information. You have to also be mindful of time limitations. You also have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're not doing that. But in order for you to do it, that is to proceed with this plea, you are required to look at, review, and sign a document that's titled Defendant's Consent to Video Conference. On that same right, the state also has the right to demand a public hearing, a public courtroom hearing, and they too had to sign a consent. Now, gentlemen, did you each understand the rights that I have just discussed with you? Mr. Miles?
Yes, sir.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sanders?
Your Honor.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Sanders.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, I agree, Judge.
All right. Now, each of you has reviewed and signed documents that are part of this proceeding, this record. Those documents you should have reviewed and had the guidance and the assistance of your individual attorney. The papers that are signed in your individual cases, did you each read them and review them and understand them with the assistance of your attorney? Mr. Sanders,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hernandez,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
Those documents include, in each document, by the way, you are identified at the top of the document with your name, case number, and court number. Each of you has these documents, including a very critical document that's titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. That document includes a lot of information. It acknowledges, or you sign an acknowledgement that you have had explained to you the different rights and protections that I have talked to you about, but they also repeat them in writing. It also has 14 different paragraphs or sections informing you of different things and asking you different things of importance. One of them includes the fact that any deal that you make with the state is not binding on me. As the judge, I have the authority and in fact the responsibility to decide whether I accept your plea bargain or I reject it. I have to say yes or no on it. I also have the authority to give you a punishment within the range of punishment of the offense that you're pleading on. Even if I give you a punishment that's greater than what you agreed to. If I reject your plea bargain, or if I give you a punishment greater than what you've agreed to, in either case, for each of you individually, then the law would allow you to start all over again, and nothing that you said or signed would be used against you. Is that clear, Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Miles?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Another document that's critically important. I talked to you momentarily about the right to appeal. I have a document that identifies you, and it states the title of the document is Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. That document tells you that because you're participating in a plea bargain, in other words, because you're making a deal, you cannot have the right of appeal. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't say, okay, here's my deal, but then I'm going to appeal it. It don't work that way. You understand the trial court certification, Mr. Miles?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanders? Mr.
Yes.
Sanders?
Your Honor.
Okay, we're having a little bit of trouble with you. Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, I agree, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So now, state, talk to me on Mr. Miles. Is he going to have probation? State,
Yes, Your Honor. It looks like it is probation.
I'm sorry,
Yes, Your Honor, probation.
probate? It's not going to be deferred.
It is deferred, Your Honor.
Okay. A plea of no contest?
I'm not sure, Your Honor. I don't think state's paperwork was done on this case.
Okay, we'll look at that momentarily. What about Mr. Sanders? What kind of a probation is he going to get?
Mr. Sanders is going to be deferred, and the state does have a motion on that case.
All right, and Mr. Hernandez?
On that one, I'm not sure, Your Honor. The state tendered two offers, and I'm not sure which one the defendant's pleading for.
When it's
Right.
deferred.
Mr. Sheffield, what kind of probation is your client accepting?
Your Honor, Mr. Hernandez is accepting deferred.
I'm sorry?
Deferred, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, gentlemen, each of you is applying for and asking this court to grant you deferred adjudication probation. I need you to listen carefully. Deferred adjudication probation is a very beneficial system of community supervision that your attorney has worked out for you. It's very beneficial because despite the plea that you're going to make, each of you is going to enter a plea on which I can find you guilty, but I won't. I need you to understand that I will postpone that. I will defer that so long as each of you individually lives up to 100% of the conditions of supervision. If you fail or refuse to live up to 100%, the state may ask me to give you official notice and bring you in for a hearing, at which time, depending on the evidence and my belief, you may be convicted. You may get a conviction, and that will follow you the rest of your lives. And you'll be looking at 100% of the range of punishment, which I'll explain to each of you as we go along. That range of punishment, for example, on the unlawfully carrying, the range of punishment is a fine from $0 to $4,000, and jail from 0 days to 1 full year. Is that clear, Mr. Miles?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Sanders, is this going to be reduced to DWI first or to an obstruction state?
It will be an obstruction, Your Honor.
All right. In your case, Mr. Sanders, if you violate and wind up entering a conviction, your range of punishment will be a fine from $0 to $2,000 and jail from 0 days to 180 days. Is that clear, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hernandez, yours is also a Class B misdemeanor. If you fail or refuse to live up to 100% of the conditions, then the state will ask me to have a hearing. And you're looking at, ultimately, if I find a conviction, you're looking at a fine $0 to $2,000 in jail from 0 to 180 days. Is that clear to you three gentlemen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So,
Your Honor.
Mr. Miles, state, tell me what the agreement is. I know that it's going to be a deferred. What is the plea?
I'm not sure what the plea is, Your Honor. I think it'll be no contest.
Mr. Miles, are you going to plead no contest, sir?
No contest.
All right. The court accepts your plea of no contest. I find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I will not. Instead, we're going to grant you deferred adjudication of how long, state?
6 months, Your Honor.
6 months deferred adjudication. During that time, the conditions will include state,
$300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours community service, a gun safety course,
I'm sorry?
a gun safety course,
Yes.
and the state is requesting forfeiture of the weapon to the DA's office.
To the DA's office, you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, Mr. Miles, do you have children you support?
No, sir.
All right. And how do you earn a living and how much do you get total income from whatever source?
So I'm currently in between. I had to take some time off for the holidays. But I'll be restarting back up with Caliente Harley Davidson.
All right.
First.
So what do you normally make?
For the first 90 days it'd be $10. And then And then after the first 90, it'll be 12.
Will be
We'll
what?
say 10 to 12, 10 to 12.
So let me ask you again, roughly, what do you make per month? What's the normal
A month.
income?
I don't know, what is that?
If it's $12 a month, that's $480. I mean, $12 an hour, that's $480 a week. 960 times 2 is right about 1,900, 2,000 a month.
I'd say probably closer to 16.
To what?
I'd probably say it's closer to 16,
All right.
maybe 18. I don't know, 17. We'll say 10 an hour.
All right. So this agreement that was recited by the state, is this your agreement, Mr. Miles?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reynolds, is that the agreement?
Yes, Judge.
All right, I will honor the agreement. I accept your plea of no contest. As I said, I find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. You are fined $300 plus court costs. You will perform 24 hours of community service restitution. You will complete a gun safety course. What kind of gun are we talking about?
I was carrying a firearm with a handgun without a license.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
It was a handgun without a license.
Okay, but what kind of handgun are we talking about? What's the brand?
Oh, it was the M&P 45 Shield.
All right.
That's what I got caught with.
And you in agreement to have the weapon forfeited to the district attorney's office?
Yes, sir.
All right, then that'll be the order of the court. Your supervisory fee will be $29 a month. All three of you will have to report within 7 days to the offices of County Court of Law number 5. In fact, you two gentlemen are here right now. You might do it before you leave. You're supposed to put your thumbprint on the documents that are required by law. In addition, you're to stick around, do not leave until you have each gone through a brief meeting with Maricela Luna. She's the court liaison officer. She will explain and get you started on the probation system. The probation department is going to read the conditions of supervision to each of you. And you will sign those conditions and they will give you a copy and put it in your hands. You will come back here and you won't be able to tell me, well, I didn't know that was a condition, because you'll have a copy in your hands. All right, any questions, Mr. Miles?
No, sir.
Mr. Reynolds?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, you're excused then, unless you want to stick around with your client.
Thank you,
For
Judge.
him to complete what we just finished.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
You too. Mr. Sanders, the state has a motion. Tell me what it is, state.
Your Honor, the state moves to amend the information to add count 2 of obstruction and then moves to waive count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
Without objection, Judge.
The motion is made. There is no objection. Do you include in there the waiver of the 10 days notice on amendment, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Christian. Then the court grants the motion. Mr. Sanders, you're no longer charged with extreme intoxication. You're now officially charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. There's a significant change in everything on here. It's no longer technically DWI. Why are we getting okay, now to the charge of obstruction.
So, Judge, what I think's happening, McCall, keep it on mute until the judge says something, because I think we're getting feedback from yours. Okay, so he's going to ask you a question, and take it off mute. But the feedback, I believe, Judge, is from McCall's video. Sorry.
All right. Now, Mr. Sanders, to the charge of obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway, what is your plea?
So McCall, take it off mute and enter the plea, and it's going to be a plea of guilty.
Guilty.
All right, sir. Now, since all three of you are pleading either guilty or no contest, which is considered guilty in this court, did anyone threaten you, intimidate you, or promise you anything other than the plea agreement in exchange for your plea? Mr. Miles?
No, sir.
Mr. Sanders?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hernandez?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sanders, I accept your plea of guilty. I find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. Instead, I am honoring the agreement that's been reached with you and the state, between you and the state. State, inform me of the specifics of the agreement as far as punishment, etc.
Yes, Your Honor, the agreement is for 16 months deferred, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel live, TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for 8 months.
Mr. Sanders, how do you make a living?
I work at Thundercloud Subs, a sandwich shop.
And how much do you earn per month?
Including tips, roughly 2,000 a month.
Okay. All right. Do you have children you support?
No, Your Honor.
You don't. Is the agreement that's recited by the state, is that your agreement, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Christian, do you agree with that?
Yes, sir. That's our agreement. We would ask that you follow it.
All right. The court accepts the agreement. I honor that agreement. You are granted 16 months deferred adjudication. You are fined $500 plus court costs. You will perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You will complete the DWI education course. You will complete the victim impact panel live. You'll submit to a TAP evaluation and the recommendations subject to my approval. You will have ignition interlock installed in your vehicle for a continuous 8 months. During that 8 months, you're not to drive any vehicle other than your own equipped with the ignition interlock. During the entire 16 months, you're not to drink any alcohol or use any illegal drugs besides the other conditions. You understand that, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Your supervisory fee likewise will be $29 a month. Any questions, Mr. Sanders?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Christian?
No, sir.
All right. Juan Hernandez, you were
Judge,
charged with failure to stop and give information where damage in excess of $200 was caused.
Judge, it's James Hernandez.
I'm sorry. Isn't it Juan Hernandez?
no, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
The defendant's name is James G. Hernandez.
Whoa. I guess this is Juan because my wife had an uncle by that name. Sorry about that, folks. James Hernandez, you heard the charge. How do you plead, sir?
No contest, Judge.
All right, so you know that no contest plea is considered a guilty plea in this court, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, state, tell me what the agreement is, please.
Judge, on this one, it's 12 months deferred.
I'm sorry?
12 months deferred,
Okay,
a $300 fine plus court costs, 24 hours of community service,
4-4?
24,
Oh, okay.
a driver's safety course, and restitution, if any, to Roger Wilkinson.
Spell that.
It's Wilkinson.
And what's the first name?
Roger, Roger.
Roger?
Yes, Judge.
And I'll let you spell that second one. All right, Mr. Hernandez, how do you make a living?
Right now, Judge, to tell you the truth, I have a dark cloud lingering over my head with, in reference to like getting my vehicle insured. At the time of this incident, my vehicle that I was driving was registered under my dad's name. It is now under my name, but now, Judge, I'm having problems finding work because my insurance and my dad's insurances are telling us that this case is a DUI. And of course, obviously it's not, but it's affecting my my ability to find a job as far as a delivery driver job.
All right, let's say that things go right for you. What do you normally would make?
Probably about $1,400 a month.
All right, and do you have children you support?
I do have children, but they're all they're all over 18, except for one. She's
All right.
17.
Is the recitation your agreement, Mr. Hernandez, as far as punishment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sheffield?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the court approves that agreement. I find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. Instead, you're granted 12 months deferred adjudication. You'll pay a $300 fine plus court costs. You'll perform 24 hours of community service restitution. You'll complete a driver safety course. You will pay restitution to be determined to Roger, whatever that last name was, again, state, spell it.
Judge, it's Wilkinson. It's Wilkinson.
Wilkinson, all right. Any questions, Mr. Hernandez?
No, sir.
Any questions, Mr. Sheffield?
No, Your Honor.
All right, all three of you will submit your thumbprint in the offices of County Court 5 within 1 week. Those that are here would be probably fortunate to do it today. All three of you will wait and participate in a meeting with Ms. Maricela Luna. She will start you off on probation.
Judge, what was his supervisory fee?
$25 from Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Question?
No, Your Honor.
All right, then this concludes the hearing for you three fellas, and it concludes the docket for this morning so far. Court will be in recess.
Judge,
Thank you, Judge.
Yes,
I'm gonna put Ms. Luna and the defendants in a breakout room.
yes.
There's also an attorney that logged on, Brian Powers, and I believe Angela Blake. I'm not sure if she's still there.
Oh, actually, Patty, I was going to do it to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
I have a plea set next week, and I just wanted to go over it with you,
Okay.
but I'll wait.
Is Miss Blake still on there?
No, not that I see.
All right. All right, Judge, then everybody is excused till,
Alrighty. It's lunchtime. It's exactly 12 p.m.
We can be back at 1:30 for that motion.
That's my understanding.
Robert Valdez didn't say yay or nay on it.
Okay, see y'all then.
Okay.
Patricia, real quick. So does McCall Sanders stay on to meet with
Yeah,
probation?
I send him to a breakout room 2. He needs to
Okay,
go
McCall, go to breakout room 2.
there. Thanks, David.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you all. McCall, go to 2.
Hey, Patty, you there?
Yes, Brian, I'm still here.
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm so close to lunch. We
It's all
just
right.
got
Hang on.
Yeah.
Judge Angela Blake is back on.
Hello. Who is it?
Angela Blake.
Is this the
It's
late
me.
Angela Blake?
I'm here.
How are you, dear?
Good, good. How are you?
Okay, what can I do for you?
I had a guy in the docket today, but I seem to have lost contact with him, Mr. Scott Sheeper. You need a cause number, I can give you one.
Did you say it is on the docket?
Yes,
What's the case number?
it is 617997.
617 907
997.
99. No. The top of page 4. Mr. Shepherd did not appear.
Okay. Yeah, I seem to have lost contact with him. If I could, and I just got this email a couple days ago. If I could just maybe have a week or so, or whatever the court's normal procedure is fine.
My policy is you get 1 week to produce them, otherwise we'll issue a warrant.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else?
That's all, Judge. I'm gonna
Okey-dokey.
stay and talk to Mr. Powers.
Okay, then it's break time, lunchtime. We'll be back at 1:30.
Patty, there?
Yeah, Michelle.
Oh.
Tired, Judge?
Yeah, you didn't drink water. He didn't drink his water this morning. Anywho,
I got to
what's
do
up,
that
Brian?
too. Hey, I just pled a guy named Stephen Garcia. I just sent you his SID number, or his SID number and his email address. And he has just pled to one felony in the 227th, and they're dismissing like every one of his other cases except for one that's set next Wednesday.
Did you send it to me?
Yeah, you should have.
Okay, I see it.
Okay, and so he's got a real confusing email.
Hang on, Brian.
Sure.
Mr. McCall. Mr. McCall. Mr. Sanders.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I was having a little technical difficulty.
So you logged off from the meeting
Can you
with
hear me?
Ms. Luna? I'm not sure if you have a bad connection or what, but I'm gonna put you back in the
I had to
breakout room.
re-log in.
Okay, I'm gonna put you back in the breakout room.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.